I want to talk about government waste, and I know that that feels like a kind of a right-wing talking point. Ugh, red tape everywhere, blah, blah, blah. Why do we keep spending money on people who need help? Ugh. But that's not the point. What I want to know is why we are spending money on initiatives that we know will fail rather than spending money resolving the problems behind them, or indeed not even spending money but just resolving these problems in the first place. So, first up, we've got a review coming up of the way that people are able to claim sick pay when they're off work. And one thing that's really interesting in the notes for that is that 800,000 more people are off work sick in the UK than were in 2019. And the government is proposing, let's give people responsibility to get back to work themselves, blah, 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 rather than talking about what's actually on the rise. Well, for young people, lots and lots of mental health problems, and for older people, lots of mobility problems, lots of difficulties with, bad backs and all that kind of stuff. Well, why is that happening? Because increasingly people are living in inadequate housing, people are unable to get access to adequate food, people are unable to access physiotherapy, NHS appointments are like gold dust in some places. It's impossible to get support. Young people are living in a cruel and brutal society where life is getting harder and harder and harder for them. And then we're like, stop having a mental health problem, rather than going, let's actually build a world in which they are able to go to work, because it's the kind of world in which those problems are much, much rarer, as indeed they should be. At the same time, we are spending a fortune arresting elderly people for holding up cardboard signs that say, "I support Palestine action." Now, that's money that we're wasting there is money that has been allocated by the government for the counter-terrorism forces within our police, right? And that money should be being spent countering terrorism, and it's actually putting minority groups at risk that money has been siphoned off into arresting elderly doctors who are obviously not terrorists. This is just wastefulness, and I know it feels right-wing to be talking about wastefulness, because honestly I want to do the right thing, even if we have to do it in a circuitous way, and even if we have to fill in forms to make sure it happens correctly. I'm okay with us spending money on having a bureaucracy if that bureaucracy does sensible things and supports people and helps people. But right now we are spending money, locking up elderly people who hold signs suggesting that they support peaceful actions to stop the arms trade. And we are telling people to go back to work when they are not physically capable of doing so. And then we are expending money to try to force them to do so when they can't do so. When what we could do is actually challenge the problems at the heart of this. And there's a lot of things that I don't like about Starmer's government, starting with their support for genocide. But if you're going to be evil and awful and all the rest, just at least be efficient about it, because this is not it. This is wasteful, and it's our money that's being thrown hand over fist at these useless actions that make our society less safe, not more safe. See you next week. Increasingly, the mainstream media is terrible at informing the public of what is really going on. I'm only able to make these videos because people are generous enough to sponsor me making them, and if you're able to be a part of that, I would hugely appreciate it. It can cost as little as $1 a month, and you'll get loads of fun bonus content and lots of extras from me and my undying gratitude. I also massively appreciate it if you're able to like, share these videos and let people out there know what's going on.